Hi guys, my name is Ivana, and those of you who follow me on YouTube and Instagram know me as a detox specialist and an iridologist, among some other things. But there's a whole other aspect to me and what I do that some of you might not know, and that is the spiritual aspect of my work. I am a professionally trained psychic medium. I am a channel. I do past life regression, and I do readings. And today we are having a new moon solar eclipse in Sagittarius. And I have felt compelled to do a general reading about the energies of this eclipse, seeing as this is the final eclipse of the 2021, as we move into the 2022. Now, originally I planned on pulling 3 cards and posting a short missive on Instagram, but as I meditated and I started shuffling the cards, this is where I ended up with a bunch of cards because I was getting a story here. So here we are, and I'm going to go through the cards that I pulled and interpret them for you. Now, keep in mind, this is a collective energy reading. This is not going to be the reading that's going to give you an answer whether or not you're going to get the job or if your ex-boyfriend's going to come back to you. This is not that type of a reading. All right? This is about tapping into the collective unconscious and how those energies combined with the universal energies are affecting our external world. Now, in the placement of the collective unconscious energies that are percolating underneath, we have the High Priestess and the Justice. Now, the High Priestess, of course, represents knowledge, represents things that are hidden, represents mysteries. It, in fact, represents the higher self, our intuition, our spiritual knowledge. She represents secrets. She is the all-knowing, but she does not speak, she does not reveal her secrets. So it's fitting that the High Priestess is showing up as a symbol that represents the subconscious or unconscious energies of the collective. But this card jumped out of the deck together with the Justice card. Now, Justice is number 11 and the High Priestess is number 2. But 11 reduces to 2. So we have, in fact, a double 2 here. So what I'm seeing here is that the High Priestess represents God's law or universal law, spiritual law, whereas Justice card represents laws of the physical universe, our justice system. And justice, of course, is all about balance. It's about fairness. It's also the law of karma in a sense, because justice speaks to what you put out is what you get back. If you work hard, you will get the returns. If you project fears, you will get those back reflected to you. And the second house is the house of values. And as I kept drawing the cards, the number 2 was quite prominent here from what I could see. There's a theme of duality being integrated and brought together. So this is the unconscious energies, but then I drew the card to show me how these unconscious energies are manifesting in the physical reality. And what do we have here is the 2 of Wands. So again, we have another 2. And the 2 of Wands is the card of contemplation. This is the card of looking toward new things. This is the card of redefining the world. And in the classic Right Away deck, you have the man who has one wand behind him, something that he has to leave behind, but there's another wand right in front of him when he sets out on a new journey. So there's a new phase that is unfolding as a result of the undercurrents within the collective unconscious. Now, I drew some clarifying cards for the High Priestess and the Justice. And the clarifier on top is the altar priestess, which speaks to preparation, prayer, sacred ritual, and so on. So what this tells me is that there's a split within the collective. There is a faction that is really focused strongly on the physical manifestation and is not aware of the massive shifts occurring on the deeper levels. But there are those who are aware, who sense the energies, and who are spiritually minded, and they are creating consciously, they're directing these energies to consciously impact the world, to change their lives, and therefore create a rippling effect out into the universe. And these are people who are into manifestation, who meditate, who dedicate their life to gaining knowledge, attaining higher learning, understanding themselves, trying to better themselves in some way. These are the people that observe the law of attraction. Now, these energies in the outer world are symbolized by the Swan Queen. And the Swan Queen is all about transformation. But the Swan Queen is patient and she's very intuitive. So there's quite a deep level of understanding on the soul level, even though it may not appear to be that way on the outside. There's a level of maturity and desire for growth within the collective. People are working on creating a better world, a more just world, a more fair world. Another thing I'm seeing here just occurred to me, the duality of the male and female. Because we live in the world of polarities. So this is about integrating all kinds of polarities. Male, female, negative, positive. This is about uniting all aspects of self into a more integrated unit of consciousness. But there's more feminine energy here, which tells me that it's the feminine that is driving the action here and is making more progress. So the feminine energy is coming through stronger and it's starting to become more active and more assertive. On the physical level, we also see this justice impacting the world. We have the Cosmos card here. I don't know if you can see this, which is about growth, expansion. It's about control. But at the same token, we have the Dragon's Duel card, which is all about inner conflict, morality, and conscious choice. And if you see here, there are two snakes or two dragons, if you will, that are fighting each other. So as I said, there's an undercurrent of the polarities, or the shadow self and the higher self, duking it out. And it's not that there needs to be a fight, but some people may experience these energies as an internal conflict, where you see a stark contrast between the self that you like, that you accept, and the self that you have disowned, the shadow self, the part of you that you don't like looking at. But these energies during the new moon eclipse are stirring all of this up. And the energies that are showing up here are the air dragon and the white gold dragon from Lyra. I love these cards. They're gorgeous. So these specific energies that are active right now, that are in play, they help you rise above earthly matters. So this is about, again, rising above that physically driven, materialistic self. And it implores to speak the truth and to see life from a higher perspective, to pull yourself out of the muck of materialism, money, bills, physical relationships even. This is about expanding inspiration, feeling more hope. This is about understanding that emotions drive the creation of reality. Now, the white gold dragon is the energy of Christ. And the energy of Christ is the energy of the earth's collective. So that energy is awakening. It's no longer sleeping. It's like waking the sleeping dragon, right? So the Christ consciousness is becoming more front and center in people's awareness and becomes more prominent in how people make choices in their lives. It helps you develop the seventh chakra, and it brings down that vibration of Christ consciousness, grounding it into the earthly reality. And how this energy manifests, we have awakening, which is energetic upgrades, new way of being, and integration of energy. So this is about erasing the separation between the ego and the higher self. This is about understanding that you are one being. You are not compartmentalized, you're not segmented, you are one whole self. And you have access to the highest level of consciousness at all times. And the energies that are at work right now are helping you access your higher mind, your higher consciousness. They're sort of thinning the veil that separates the two. Because if you look at the high priestess, she has the veil behind her. So there are things that can be seen on the surface, but then there's a lot that's behind the veil that we don't understand, that is unseen. And now the veil is thinning and becoming more transparent. And so we're able to access information on a daily basis that up until now was out of our reach. And this card came out twice because I didn't want to take it when it popped out. And then I shuffled again and I cut the deck. I got this card again. So this is Lemuria. So how this energy manifests in the outer world, Lemuria card talks about creating heaven on earth. And the card says it's happening. Whether you see it, you recognize it or not, it is happening. So there's a tremendous movement, energetically speaking, that is being stirred underneath. And you may have interesting dreams at this time. You may have more lucid out-of-body experiences. You may find yourself more active on the astral planes as these energies percolate. Now, the next part of this I wanted to see was how this manifests physically. And we have the base chakra and the death card, which is the card of transformation. Now, the base chakra refers to materialism. And I also clarified these two with the Queen of Swords. And she's important because the Queen of Swords actually mirrors these two cards. The energy is very similar. Because the Queen of Swords, of course, is a very just queen. She's very intelligent. She has great clarity. She has great knowledge and information. But being a female, she also has empathy. And she is also a great communicator, where all of this information that's been gathered, all of the changes that have taken place on the deeper levels of the psyche, can now be communicated externally. And again, she's all about justice, about being fair. And why is it important? Because we're talking about the first chakra, and the first chakra speaks to materialism. It's about safety and security. This is about finances. This is about having enough. So there's a movement that's geared toward more prosperity. and more fairness in how this prosperity is distributed. And death, of course, talks about transforming systems. It's about ending a cycle, because death is about endings, of course. So going forward, we will see changes in financial systems. There may be things happening that are unsettling. There may be, banks going bankrupt like we saw in 2008. Financial systems may collapse. There may be market losses. But with the Queen of Swords, everything that falls must fall to make way for a better system, to provide more security for more people. And when I drew the guidance card as to how better utilize these energies and take advantage of them, I have the reverse dissociation card. Now, again, if you look at this card, it's about duality, about the internal split, where the one side is turned away from the other. So this is again about integration. This is about understanding that each of us must care about another person, because another person is not a separate entity. We're all one. So we cannot care and improve our own lives without caring and improving the lives of others. I feel such a strong energy of coming together here. People are feeling very deeply love and empathy for others. And a big part of this comes from having suffered over the last couple of years, having seen so many systems change and transform because of the pandemic and the domino effect of what that brought on. And what we have on the other side of this energy, after the lunar eclipse, we have lost lands, portal, and perspectives. Now, the Lost Lands card talks about accessing soul memories and gifts of other selves, which some people call past selves or future selves. Again, erasing the barriers within the self. You're one self. You don't have incarnations. You're one being. And you have access to all of that. And this is about remembering yourself as a soul. This card says you have done this before. This isn't anything new. You've survived worse. So we are simply awakening. We're waking up within the dream here. We're starting to sort of wake up and see, oh, we've done this before. I don't remember the name of the movie with Tom Cruise when he was reliving the same day over and over again. And each time he had to do it, he was learning so he could shorten the process. He was getting through it faster. So it's something like that, where now we're getting to go, oh, wait, we've done this before. I know, let's not go all the way back. We can just start from this place. And the portal card talks about opening up new avenues, new portals. This is the card of new worlds opening up. Remember, we live in the quantum field of probabilities, which means there are multiple, actually countless worlds available to us, and we're constantly shifting from one to the next. Now, in order for us to be able to shift to the world of our choosing, we have to carry the vibration of that reality within us. So what this tells me is that as a result of these changes and energetic upgrades, we're now able to access probable worlds and realities that heretofore were not available to us because we did not resonate with that vibration. We were not of that vibration. But after this lunar eclipse, the upgrades that will have been installed and all of the fine-tuning that will have been done will give us more choices and more options in terms of how we want our reality to look. And this is also the wild card. This is the card of surprises, of unknowns. Now, I love this card, which is the perspective card, because after all is said and done, this card says none of it matters. Because in some ways, this reality is not real. It's a simulation. So yes, we go through the process, we learn, we live, we die, we suffer. But in the end, it's just a game. By changing our perspective on how we view things, we can create more lightness in our lives. We can make things more manageable, especially if you're going through a difficult time. It's about reframing your experience. It's about gaining a new and different perspective on life and your role in it. Especially if you guys are struggling with security, like job, money, shelter, and stuff like that. And what is the lesson in all of this? This is my card. It's the Earth card. It says, learning how to be human in the world, but not of it. Understand that yes, you are participating in this reality, but you are not of this reality. The self you see in the mirror, who gets dressed every morning, brushes her teeth, and goes to work, is just an avatar of the greater self that had split off and created a sense of false separation from the soul. So these lunar eclipse energies are helping us to find our way back to ourselves, really. And the eclipse energies usually deliver their news the day of, but in some cases, in about 30% of cases, could be exactly the month before or exactly the month after the eclipse occurred. Almost to the day, give or take 2 or 3 days. So watch what happens. Now, I wanted to see, since we are at the end of 2021, what the energies are going to be like going into 2022. And I have the water card here, which tells me that there's going to be less resistance, more flow. This is more in the realm of feelings and emotions. And the way this card is presenting itself, I am seeing calmer waters, more reflection, more kindness and compassion. Because of all of this awakening that's happening on the collective level. And make no mistake, the suffering that the people had gone through is the reason why they're softening toward the others, why they're developing more empathy and compassion. It's going to be a much nicer, softer, and brighter year. Now, I do have the unfinished business, the unfinished symphony card, which tells me that this circus that we've been going through for the last couple of years still has tentacles that are extending a little bit into 2022, but this is a 10 card, and 10 is the completion of a cycle. So this tells me that 2022 is where we finally put this to bed. Now, there's still going to be some chaos and conflict, but it's going to be much more tempered with this water element card. So I hope you found this entertaining, maybe even useful in some way. I've never done this before. I work with people privately. I do readings. I've never done a collective reading, so this was interesting for me in that sense, because usually we talk about jobs, about specific people, and things like that. If you want to see more of these, then please let me know in your comments. And I would like to let you know, those of you who do get readings with me, I am going to be raising my prices after the New Year. So if you would like to get readings, now is the time to get them. All right? Hope to see you soon.